It was a chilly Friday evening in late October. The kind of evening where the sun sets early, casting long shadows and leaving the world tinged with a foreboding orange hue. I was driving down Route 46, a lonely stretch of highway cutting through the backwoods of Tennessee. My car had sputtered to a stop hours ago, and after fiddling uselessly under the hood, I realized there was no chance of reviving it. Worse, my phone had no signal, and the nearest town, Cedar Ridge, was a good 10 miles away. I wrapped my jacket tighter around me as the temperature dropped. Hitchhiking was my only option. I stood by the side of the road, arm extended, thumb out, hoping anyone would stop. Cars zoomed past, headlights glaring but never slowing. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, an old, beat-up pickup truck creaked to a stop beside me. The driver rolled down the window. He was a man in his late 40s, wearing a faded baseball cap and a flannel shirt. His face was rough and weathered, but he smiled kindly. "Need a ride?" he asked. I hesitated. Hitchhiking wasn't ideal, but what choice did I have? "Yeah, to Cedar Ridge, if that's okay," I replied. "Hop in," the man said, unlocking the door. The interior of the truck smelled faintly of tobacco and motor oil. As I climbed in, I noticed the dashboard was cluttered with trinkets. A rosary, a cracked photograph of a young girl, and an odd-looking figurine I couldn't quite place. The driver introduced himself as Dale and offered me a thermos of coffee. I declined politely, clutching my bag tightly in my lap. The truck rumbled down the highway as silence stretched awkwardly between us. Dale broke it with small talk, asking where I was headed, what had happened to my car. I answered in short sentences, my unease growing. Something about his demeanor felt off. His smile lingered too long, and his eyes darted to me more often than necessary. "You're lucky I came along," he said after a while, his voice low. "Not many folks stop for hitchhikers these days. You never know what kind of people are out here." I forced a laugh. "Yeah, guess you're right." The road stretched on, dark and empty. My grip on my bag tightened as I noticed we weren't passing any signs or towns. The tension in the truck grew thicker with every mile. "So, what do you do for a living?" Dale asked suddenly. "I'm a graphic designer," I said quickly, hoping to steer the conversation to something neutral. Dale nodded, but his gaze lingered on me again. "You got family waiting for you? A boyfriend, maybe?" The question made my stomach churn. "Yeah," I lied. "My boyfriend's waiting for me. He's expecting me soon." Dale's smile faltered for a split second before returning. "That's good. It's always nice to have someone looking out for you." My eyes darted to the GPS mounted on his dashboard. The screen was cracked, but it was clear we were heading in the wrong direction. I think we're going the wrong way," I said, my voice shaking. Dale's smile disappeared completely. "Relax," he said, his tone sharp. "I know a shortcut. Trust me, I've been driving these roads for years." My heart pounded in my chest. I subtly reached for my phone, only to remember there was still no signal. Panic set in as the truck turned onto a dirt road leading into dense woods. "Where are we going?" I demanded, trying to keep my voice steady. Dale didn't answer. Instead, he stared straight ahead, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. The only sound was the crunch of gravel under the tires and the faint hum of the engine. My mind raced. I had to do something. I had to get out. The truck slowed as we reached a clearing. In the dim light, I could make out what looked like an old, abandoned cabin. Dale stopped the truck and turned to me, his expression unreadable. "Wait here," he said, opening his door. He stepped out and walked around to the back of the truck, rummaging for something. This was my chance. I fumbled with the door handle, throwing it open and bolting into the woods. Branches scratched at my face and arms as I ran blindly, my breath coming in ragged gasps. I could hear Dale shouting behind me, his heavy footsteps crashing through the underbrush. I didn't look back. Couldn't. My only focus was putting as much distance as possible between me and that truck. After what felt like an eternity, I stumbled onto another road, this one quiet and deserted. A pair of headlights appeared in the distance. I waved my arms frantically, screaming for help. The car slowed to a stop, and a young couple rolled down the window. "Are you okay?" the woman asked, her face etched with concern. "Please help me. He's after me," I cried, climbing into the back seat without waiting for an invitation. The couple exchanged worried glances but sped off, leaving the dark woods behind. My relief was short-lived. As I glanced out the rear window, I saw the faint outline of Dale's truck parked at the edge of the road, and standing beside it, barely illuminated by the taillights, was Dale, watching me disappear into the night. His smile was back, but this time it wasn't kind. When the couple dropped me off at Cedar Ridge's police station, I told the officers everything. They promised to send a patrol out, but as the hours dragged on, there was no sign of Dale, his truck, or the cabin. It was as if he, and the terror he brought, had vanished into thin air. To this day, I can't drive down a dark highway without checking my rearview mirror, and every time I see an old pickup truck, my chest tightens, and I wonder if Dale is still out there, waiting for his next hitchhiker.